If you put aside 25 cents every week for a year, what could you get at the end? A few cups of coffee, maybe? A candle? Or you could get a year of the best reporting from all over the world. Go to WashingtonPost.com/BF24 right now. You'll get a Washington Post subscription for 25 cents a week for your first year. This is a Black Friday sale, so it won't last long. WashingtonPost.com/BF24.
It's beginning to sound a lot like the holidays. The Roku channel, your home for free and premium TV, is giving you access to holiday music and genre-based stations from iHeart, all for free. Find the soundtrack of the season with channels like iHeart Christmas and North Pole Radio. The Roku channel is available on all Roku devices, web, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Samsung TVs, and the Roku mobile app on iOS and Android devices. So stream what you love and turn up the cheer with iHeartRadio on the Roku channel. Happy streaming!
9 to noon.
Personal foul. Clipping. Just listen. Just listen.
Minnesota has won the toss, and Minnesota is going to win the game.
The Vikings.
Hell no, we're going to go to playoffs next year. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, calm down.
Alrighty now, everybody ready on this cloudy Thursday? This is 9 to noon. The 9 to noon presentation is in the air. Good morning. It's Paul Allen, mad producer by my side. In thematic fashion,
Beating the Bears.
we are very happy to begin with one of my very favorites. He is Silvy from the popular Chicago Drive Time radio show, Waddle and Silvy, and Mr. Silvy joins us now. Silvy, does the Swing of Sorrow or Swing of Shame have a Twitter account? And why do you head to your backyard playground to vent about the woebegone Chicago Bears?
Yes, PA, it's great to be on with you again. So it's the Swing of Sadness, and this was a purchase back in COVID, in 2020. I have young kids. I have a 10 and an 8-year-old. And during COVID, I think, what were they, 6 and 4? And we thought at that time they would never go to a playground again. So we're like, we got to buy this expensive play set for our backyard for them to play. And then, like most kids, after a few months, they grew tired of it and they never use it. So I've got this big play set in the backyard that's not getting any use. So I was thinking our teams totally stink, and I needed to do something where I could rant or be sad or just kind of get my thoughts together in a place like a kind of a sports confessional or a bunker where I could just sit and lay it all out on the table. And I had this tire swing, and I'm like, since my kids aren't using it, I'm going to use it. So most people just sit at a desk and talk into a camera. I've turned the play set into the Swing of Sadness, and we have our share of sports sadness in Chicago.
And this was conceived, you said, in 2020, correct? When your children were 6 and 4?
Well, like that's when the purchase was made.
Oh, I
so
see.
Yeah. So and then once everything got back to normal and kids were playing again, and I've got this big wooden play set in my backyard that they can't stand. They're not playing with it. They're playing sports. So now I got to use it. So I just sit on the tire swing myself, and I give all my sports thoughts there.
Well, the ages of the children tickled my fancy because for the Chicago Bears, 6-4 wouldn't be too bad.
There we go, Paul!
Wouldn't you agree?
Very good. Very good. I'm going through, and it is like a therapy session, too, when I'm on the swing. And these games, PA, after they've lost to the Commanders and the Packers, and I took my family, too. As you know, I do the pregame show and the halftime show for the Bears Network. I don't travel usually, but I went to the Arizona game, and I took the kids with me and my wife. And so I sat with them in the first quarter. Things were going brutal to begin with. And my 10-year-old is just, my 8-year-old just rolls with the punches. My 10-year-old is more like me, very high-strung. This hurts him to his core. And these are therapy sessions that I have with him each and every week, where we were out to dinner after the Packer game, too, and he was like, Dad, he's like, are the Bears ever going to be good when I'm alive? And I had to give him the history lesson that it took me till I was 14 to win a Super Bowl. It took me till I was in my upper 40s for the Cubs to win a World Series.
Hey.
That, like, these things take time, and they're going to make you tougher in the end.
So, Mark, Mr. Silvy, would you say
Beating the Bears.
the best place on Twitter for those to see the swing of sadness and subsequently the commentary that comes with it, at Waddle and Silvy, the best spot?
Yes, and then I'm on Instagram at Mark, M-A-R-C, middle initial A, Silverman.
Got you, brother. What do you believe is or should be team president Kevin Warren's role in what is going to be next for the Chicago Bears? And I ask because I've never known Kevin to fail at anything in a big spot scenario.
It's a great point, and I was really, really excited when Kevin came in, and you were one of the first guests we had on. Like, who knows Kevin Warren better than you? And yesterday we had Rick Spielman on, who, of course, you know, started with his big-time career in Chicago as the director of pro personnel before he went to Miami, and then his long run in Minneapolis. And I asked him, I go, you know, he's team president. What role should he have in a coaching search that should be inevitable and everything like that? And he echoed exactly what you said, PA. He said, if Kevin isn't hands-on in this, then the Bears aren't doing it the right way.
Right. Because
he's got too much knowledge to put in. Now, he's had his hands full with the stadium thing. You know, he's trying to do what you guys did there. There's a lot harder political hoops to jump through here. And he's been frustrated by that. He won't tell you publicly that he's frustrated. But yeah, I like, the Bears have always had to hire a consultant. You don't have to hire a consultant when you've got Kevin Warren in the building. So they finally have someone in the building who's got stake in the game, it's not like Bill Polian can tell you, hey, you should hire Eberflus, you should hire Ryan Poles, and then he just rides off into his Hall of Fame sunset and then doesn't see it through. Kevin Warren has to see all of this through, give these guys resources. So I'm with you. I'm hoping this could be a game changer.
Silvy, why do you feel, just over the totality of his leadership there, and I think the road record, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like 4-18, so I might be answering my own question, but why do you feel Coach Matt Eberflus is so overmatched?
You pick any way possible. He is not good in real time managing a game. Anything from challenges to knowing when to go for two, to needing timeouts, to giving the Washington Commanders an extra 13 yards to set up the Hail Mary, to allowing his offensive coordinator to give the ball to the backup center in that Commanders game at the goal line when you have real running backs in an important game. He hired Shane Waldron. Shane Waldron, PA, was fired in record time 9 games.
Yeah.
You cannot keep. What's that?
I know. It was a gasp.
Yeah, gasp. 9 games. I mean, so they, again, like, the play should have been Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh was Waddle's quarterback. He played here. He won everywhere he went. He really took it as an important thing to go back to Michigan, and he wanted to sit in Bo Schembechler's chair. He wanted to restore the greatness. He would have done the same and wanted to do the same with Mike Ditka. He knew and played for Mike Ditka and understood that it wasn't the same here since Ditka left and would have taken on that challenge. The Bears instead decided to repeat history, bring back Eberflus when they drafted a quarterback knowing full well that if it does fail, Caleb Williams is going to have a new coach in year 2 to stunt his growth. So they stunted his growth anyway by hiring the worst offensive coordinator out there, which was Matt Eberflus's hire. He's bad on game day. He's bad hiring his staff. And he's one of the worst coaches in Bears history.
Silvy, this is Silvy from Waddle and Silvy, just an absolute drive-time juggernaut in a major market, Chicago, and I love the guy. It seemed things with your Bears improved last game despite the loss. Well, would you agree?
Yes. And I had 2 thoughts on that, PA. It was great to see them, like, even though it was a heartbreaking loss, like usually on surface, a heartbreaking loss to the Packers, you guys would feel the same way. That if you're setting up for a kick and there was another controversial decision on whether to go for more yards, the Bears had that same thing against you guys back in, I want to say 2014, where this happened. But anyway, if you lose a heartbreaker to the Packers on your home field, and the Bears haven't beaten the Packers in 10 straight leading up to this loss. Now it's 11. We would be devastated. But, like, the mood was not as devastating because they played well. And they got Caleb Williams back up on his feet. Things made sense. He drove the team down in the fourth quarter, made some spectacular plays. That was the second time in a month that he did that. He did that in the Commanders game. So he's done that once on the road against a good team in the Commanders and did it against your arch rival against the Packers. But it also just flies in the face of what they've done these last 9 games before that and how none of it made sense. And you say to yourself, how could they get it right so quickly with the interim OC and they didn't know how to do it correctly when they hired Shane Waldron?
Oh, geez. How does, Silvy, how does one get control of DJ Moore and Keenan Allen's in-game body language, at time looking like kids not getting their way, pining for the opportunity to play and frolic on the swing of sadness?
It's a great question, and it's something that we've talked a lot about. I've given DJ Moore the benefit of the doubt a lot of this year because wherever I go in minicamp, training camp, I see all those practices. DJ Moore and OTAs, the ones that are optional for players, he's there every one. He's as hard of a worker as the Bears have. So with those guys who are always there, who are always setting the example, who are always working hard, I tend to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I've done that with DJ. But what was weird, PA, and I just mentioned this last game, you turn on the film and all of a sudden there was a different effort level. And we could blame coaches all we want, but when you're Keenan Allen, when you're DJ Moore, when you're a bunch of offensive linemen, why does it take a coaching change, an offensive coordinator's change, to give it your best effort? It shouldn't look that much different from an effort standpoint simply because you changed offensive coordinators.
Who at this stage of the equation and eliminating the emotion from said equation, Mr. Silvy, who would you rather have and why? Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, or Jaden Daniels?
I'm 1,000% Caleb Williams.
Hey.
There's There is nothing that Caleb Williams has done or not done that has shaken me about his future. The kid's the real deal, PA. And look, we've not had one. We've never, ever had one. There were times that I thought Justin could get there. He has the arm, he has the athleticism, he just doesn't process. He was an athlete who played quarterback. Caleb Williams is a quarterback who's a good athlete. He doesn't run quite like Justin, but man, once this gets together, he's going to be really good. And by the way, even though he's been sacked high, look at his interception numbers.
Right.
For his rookie year, he doesn't give the ball away even when it's not looking good. He has still found ways to drive the team downfield. He has gotten through an offensive coordinator's change when they failed him so badly. I know Jaden Daniels looks really good. Bo Nix is one of the best coaches ever. That's what the Bears need to do with Caleb, is they need to support him better on the coaching front. I love Caleb Williams. I love his demeanor. I love his presence, and I think he's going to be a star at quarterback.
What, Mr. Silvy? What makes the Bears defense stingy?
Well, they don't break, and you're probably doing your pregame prep right now, knowing you. You probably have already completed it, knowing you. They're great in the red zone, so they're a team that can take the ball away. They're the Packers moved the ball on them last week, PA. There was a terrible Jordan Love interception near the goal line. There was a bad decision on 4th and I think 6 or 5 when LaFleur decided to go for it at the goal line or on 4th and goal from the 5 instead of kick the field goal and take the points. But they moved the ball. What they're not doing this year is they're not pressuring the quarterback. Montez Sweat, remember, was acquired last year at the trade deadline from Washington, and he led the Bears and the Commanders in sacks. This year, I think he's got 3 or 3.5 sacks, and he's been banged up, but the production just isn't there. So the front doesn't pressure. They'll have to bring some guys, and that's been hurt with Jaquan Brisker out with this concussion that he's been suffering from for a long time. So they are stingy, but you'll see the Vikings will be able to move the football against them.
Time for 2 more.
If you happen to stop by the Soldier Field Vox Box this weekend, Silvy, to say hello, is it possible that you wear a name tag this time?
Yes, I got to do something. I was very I value our relationship.
Same.
You have been coming on our show over a decade at least.
Same.
You're one of my your calls are amongst the best.
Not same.
In any sport, not just football. Any sport, what you do, the crush I have on you as a broadcaster is over the top. So last year I walked in, we had this planned. You're and you set the ground rules, and I respect ground rules. Mm-hmm. Do not bother me before the game.
Come
Fine.
on, man.
You're in prep mode. You've got interviews to do. You've got stuff you need to do.
Yeah.
So I came in then during the game. You told me to come in during the game. You even said you would throw a headset on me.
Yes.
I don't want to go. I don't want to put a headset on. That's your domain.
Right.
I wanted to come in. I wanted a hug.
Yeah.
I wanted, hey, I value our relationship as much as you value our relationship.
Same.
And I got snubbed. Ow. And then not only did I get snubbed, but then I got snubbed because I'm shorter than you thought I was. So on top of the snub, the reason you snubbed me is because you called me a short person.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I thought some rube sneaked into the booth because I was all wound up over the game against the Bears, and I apologize for that, and I look forward to seeing you in the Vox Box this weekend. And lastly, Silvy, at Waddle and Silvy via the tweet machine. I love your radio show, and you know that, and I look forward to being on it today at 4 o'clock. Of all the segments you do, on a weekly basis, Like, say, during football season with Tom Waddle. Of all the segments you and Tom do during the week, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite one or two?
Yeah, I know you're a big fan of Waddle's World. That's when we just get a little in the midst of all the complaining about Chicago sports.
Yeah,
we just loosen up, and it's everyone's got one of these, the stories of the weird and things like that. So we expand our wings a little bit and have some fun.
You are terrific, and we will chat later today. Bless you and your covenant, and thank you very much for the time. Okay.
Always a pleasure, PA.
See you, brother. That's Mark Silverman. In the business, we call him Silvy from Waddle and Silvy. It's a drive time radio show juggernaut in a super big market. Down Chicago beer. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, not in first. Courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to noon today includes Russo Radio about 9:35, followed by Nacho Libre. And Vox to Vox takes place at 11 o'clock. Mike Grimm, the voice of Golden Gopher Sports, at least basketball and football. He will be in studio to discuss the Penn State game and much more. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Some pressure points, courtesy of Sukup, and Sukup.com are around the corner on your Beating the Bears leader, FM 100.3 KFAN.
Black Friday is coming, and for the adults in your life who love the coolest toys, well, there's something for them this year too. Bartesian is the premier craft cocktail maker that automatically makes more than 60 seasonal and classic cocktails, each in under 30 seconds at the push of a button. And right now, Bartesian is having a huge site-wide sale. You can get $100 off any cocktail maker or cocktail maker bundle when you spend $400 or more. So, if the cocktail lover in your life has been good this year, or the right kind of bad, get them Bartesian. At the push of a button, make bar-quality cosmopolitans, martinis, Manhattans, and more. All in just 30 seconds. All for $100 off. Amazing toys aren't just for kids. Get $100 off a cocktail maker when you spend $400 through Cyber Monday. Visit Bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Fan.
I heard it. Don't think we didn't hear it. Just go ahead and play it.
Pressure points.
That's what we got right now. And it's a two-parter. Pressure points courtesy of Sukup and Sukup.com. Good morning. I am your point of pressure leader, Paul Allen, and here they are. There's always pressure for the adversary to score points at Soldier Field. For the Minnesota Vikings, they've won 4 consecutive at Chicago, but have scored more than 20 points there just twice the last decade. Most recently, and in Kevin O'Connell's first trip to the hallowed grounds, they ran up 29. Yes! The fan has learned in front of the anti-Vike, the fans at Soldier Field. With the elements, it can be windy. The playing surface is a crapshoot, emphasis on the word crap.
Yeah, but
it's a crapshoot every time, and these games generally are meat grinders. Penalties and turnovers are bigger there than at most road venues because the games generally are so tightly contested.
Oh, good.
Minnesota is favored by a field goal, and kicker Parker Romo faces a point of pressure. Parker Romo.
Brought to you by Sukup Manufacturing.
Parker Romo. Pressure point number 1. It's Parker Romo. He's a point of pressure here, simply because he's going to kick 4 games for the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, it is a 4-game hired gun or hired foot contract. And in those 4 games, we're halfway through the run. Now, Parker Romo missed an extra point at Tennessee, something for which we have to forgive him. and will be challenged here because it's loud and the fans are on top of you. And there's just more pressure at Soldier Field kicking than even these outdoor venues that make up the AFC South. So pressure point number 1 heads squarely and swiftly and directly to the right foot of Parker Romo. There's going to be pressure. Hopefully my man comes through with each and every kick. Pressure point number 2. It's tackle lane. It's tackle lane. We discussed this a little bit yesterday. Pressure point number 2. With the replacement offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown. A downtown Thomas Brown is what they want to call him. But alas, there was nothing downtown about Thomas Brown's passing game in the loss to the Green Bay Packers until Thomas Brown was forced to go downtown late in the game to try to catch these Green Bay Packers. And when Thomas Brown tried to go downtown with the quarterback Caleb Williams, well, on the first 2 plays they tried to get downtown, young Caleb was sacked. And 9 to noon has learned the Minnesota Vikings like to sack quarterbacks. Just like old Nachito used to do back in his Minnesota Vikings day. Sack the old quarterback. Hi, Nachito. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Pressure point number 2 is tackling. Pressure point is provided by SoupCup.com. SoupCup.com. So they try to get downtown and go deep. And they accomplished it eventually after Caleb Williams was bludgeoned 2 times in nearly a third, but he ducked under it. Every single pass, every single first half pass Caleb Williams threw against Green Bay was 10 yards or shorter. I mean, it was just the cutest little dink-dunk thing that you've ever seen in the history of dunking and dinking. Can't see that changing Sunday, especially with the way things ended last Sunday for the old USC rookie. You see, when they had to put him on those deep drops to get down the field with downtown Thomas Brown, he was sacked back-to-back plays, and when he was nearly bludgeoned on that third, he coyly ducked under it, displaying the athleticism that into the draft designated Caleb Williams as ballyhooed.
Oh my gosh, you are above average at that.
Minnesota's defense is better than Green Bay's and much more deceptive and aggressive.
I mean, pick your poison with that defense.
Just face it, those on the other side of the downtrodden variety, we have better players, and it's a better defense than Green Bay's. I mean, like shutting you out in the first half at your home gym. Okay. The point of pressure here. Pressure. Yep. The point of pressure here might fall on, and especially early in the game, is those who play outside. The corners, along with, let's say, Metellus and Bynum and Harrison Smith, otherwise known as the Hitman, and so on. The outsiders. They'll want to make us yak with their yak, their yards after catch. If the Vikings tackle well and score early, young Caleb may be in some trouble.
Pressure points.
Provided by SoupCup and SoupCup.com. A man who always seems like he's under pressure is Michael Russo from The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. He's an elite scribe. He's an elite beat-writing mind. And he's been chronicling all of the action for the Minnesota Wild during the 2024-2025. And he joins 9 to noon next.
Black Friday is coming, and for the adults in your life who love the coolest toys, well, there's something for them this year too. Bartesian is the premier craft cocktail maker that automatically makes more than 60 seasonal and classic cocktails, each in under 30 seconds at the push of a button. And right now, Bartesian is having a huge site-wide sale. You can get $100 off any cocktail maker or cocktail maker bundle when you spend $400 or more. So, if the cocktail lover in your life has been good this year, or the right kind of bad, get them Bartesian. At the push of a button, make bar-quality cosmopolitans, martinis, Manhattans, and more. All in just 30 seconds. All for $100 off. Amazing toys aren't just for kids. Get $100 off a cocktail maker when you spend $400 through Cyber Monday. Visit bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
In the Purge.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be with you today.
It's kind of brassy up in the neighborhood. Neighborhood being KFAN. My man on the tuba. Wow. Sometimes getting Russo Radio to hook up his contraption to join us from parts abroad is akin to yours truly attempting to disassemble and install a battery.
I want to win, man. That's all I care about.
That's why I go to FVPparts.com. I reach for what works. We're about ready to reach for what works with Russo Radio.
Sounds of hockey.
Yeah, they is them and them is us. And my man on the tuba's all nasty in this weak track song we're relegated to play, but this one's jazzy and peppy and got some pep in the step on a cloudy Thursday at FM 100.3. Okay. FAN, say what?
Wintersville sounds better in FM.
I think we're about ready here.
Hey, get out of there!
What do you mean?
It's time for Paul Allen on FM 100.3, The Fan.
Russo Radio. Michael Russo of The Athletic and theathletic.com. At Russo Hockey is where you can find this elite scribe, and he joins us now.
Just in time, I ran out of the bed.
What happened, Michael?
I don't know. I mean, I can hear you guys. You guys can't hear me on that incredibly complex contraption that Chad Abbott has for us, and so we got to do it the old school way and do it by phone.
So you're blaming it on the producer?
Yeah, not the producer. I think it's. I think there's technical difficulties with OnSIP because first it said that you guys were unavailable, so I had to text Nordo and tell him that to make me available, and but then I finally got in and you guys didn't hear me, so I think something's a little gremlin-y with the OnSIPs.
And I flippantly responded with, "It should be fine," and obviously it was not.
And I'm just like, just call me. So.
Sounds of hockey.
Are you in Edmonton?
I am, and you wouldn't believe how nasty it is out right now.
Meaning?
It is gross. It is just blowing snow about 2 degrees, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I don't have to leave the hotel to get to the rink, so I might not even have to put on my jacket today, but it is ugly out. I got the windows open, and you can barely see outside the windows, and the arena is literally a jump from me. You can't even see the arena right now.
You must have big plans today, because your request for the Thursday confab was for 9 to noon to engage with you in the neighborhood of 7:40. It's 7:40 in the morning, 7:43 there, correct?
8:43 Mountain Time. No, I got I don't know what is today? Thursday? So whoever co-hosts or hosts the Thursday Athletic Hockey Show is off this week, so they asked me to fill in. So in about 15 minutes, I got to do that.
So what's Pierre LeBrun doing this week? I mean, like, why did he need a day
I don't
off?
know. It's funny. I mean, I've been on the Athletic Hockey Show. I've had like 2 or 3 shows. They've all been canceled. So I out of total lack of humility, I just stopped listening. So I don't even know who hosts the Thursday show that's off today.
Understood.
But Jesse Granger, our Vegas writer, and I are co-hosting. He was my co-host on another show that was canceled. Now our guest today is Elliot Friedman. So super excited about that. A lot to talk about with him, with Jim Montgomery being fired and Bruno under the gun right now, and the big hit on Matthew Nyes last night, which was scary. A lot to talk to Elliot about.
Hey, Michael Russo at Russo Hockey, you say the word Vegas, and I want to bang my fist down on this for Micah and go, damn it, I forgot to text Jamie Hurst this week to figure out what is Jamie Hurst doing with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Has she moved, because you know everything about everything in hockey, has she and her covenant moved to Las Vegas? What's going on here?
Yes, the way I understand it, and hopefully I'm not talking out of school, but the way I understand it is her husband, who's awesome, got a job out there. So she obviously moved out there. That would make her have to leave NHL Network, where she was just incredible for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And so while she's out there, I think she's still doing a lot with the PWHL, but then she fills in or does a lot of pregame, postgame stuff with the Vegas Golden Knights on occasion. I don't think it's an every night gig. But yeah, she's added a lot to that show too. And their broadcasting, their radio and TV is, to me, as elite as it gets in the league.
Yeah.
I love their broadcast, love their announcers. And, they had, for her to go out there and work with Darren Millard and it's been tremendous, viewing. So, she's doing great out there.
You, Michael Russo, you have been covering a lot of Minnesota Wild games this season. So copyright Jimi Hendrix. Where's Joe?
Joe's on paternity leave.
Oh, well, congratulations, Joe.
Yeah, I know. Tom Reed asked the same question the other day, and then I said he's on paternity leave, and he goes, "Oh, how's he feeling?"
Yeah, I was going to say, turns out, hey, Joe does not have a gun in his hand. I always love that one. All right.
But yeah, no, at the Athletic, 5 months of paternity leave, and you could split it up. So he took a couple months over the summer, and then his last 3 once the season started. So he'll be back around Christmas time.
That's super sweet. Now, there's something yours truly and many, emailing or texting at 64686 have been wondering, and you are just the person to answer it. Here's the question: what exactly is the secret behind Gustafson's comebacks? I mean, some say it's self-reflection, others conditioning. I'm a big trust guy, and I think trust in his teammates has had something to do with it. What say you?
Funny enough, I wrote about that exact subject today in The Athletic. And what I love about Gus is he's so reflective in just everything. And the one thing he admitted is that last year, even though the Wild, the analytics say, especially high danger wise, they were amongst the best in the league, and we're getting very average to below average goaltending for a lot of the year. The mishmash of lineups that they used, the fact that everybody was playing with everybody, it just meant that there wasn't a lot of trust and a lot of defensive mistakes. And when there's not trust with your goalies and there's a disconnect, it just causes the goalies to sort of leave their comfort zone, try to do things that are uncharacteristic, be more aggressive, be 3 feet outside the crease when players are coming over the blue line. And this year, it's been the complete opposite. They've been so structured in their own end. He's seeing about 25 to 28 shots a night They've given up the fewest 5-on-5 goals in the game, fewest 5-on-5 goals per game in the league. And they've just been tremendous when it comes to defending this year. And so it allows him to really just, play his position, make the big saves when they need him, like the other night, the first couple minutes in St. Louis, where he had to be excellent to keep that game at 0-0. And then it's allowed him to just have trust and find his game again. So that's one. But two, he went back to Sweden this summer and really looked at his goals that he gave up and realized that he was terrible. In his own words, he gave up a lot of bad goals. And so he really reflected on how to get back to basics, being more conservative in net, being square to the shooter, finding that initial shot, and then trusting his guys to get rid of rebounds. He's been great at freezing pucks, things like that. But then the other thing we could all tell just by looking at him, and I'm nobody to talk, but anybody that can look at me knows where I've been over the summer, and if I've been eating badly or drinking badly or things like that, is he came into camp in fabulous shape. And they demanded a lot of things of him this summer to lose weight. They sent out their strength and conditioning coach to Sweden to meet with him. They put him on a real high regimen, and he came back and he looks just, I don't know exactly how much weight he's lost, but he looks much more in shape. He looks younger. You just see it in his face. So I think those three things, from conditioning to trust in his teammates to really reflecting and admitting and having a self-awareness that he wasn't very good last year, I think that's all led to his resurgence to the point that Flowers only played 4 games this year.
And you can read that story and get the elongated version of what Michael just shared at The Athletic and theathletic.com. Off the coach's comments, John Hines, which first were pilfered from his post-game press conference against the Blues, and then he elaborated yesterday 9 to noon. The subject was when Hartman is not moving his feet. Yeah. All right. And after the win, I thought those were some for him to share it the way he shared it, I thought was pretty interesting. So I asked him, like when Hartman's not moving his feet, like what are some of the reasons? People can podcast and hear what his answer was. I want to ask you, when as they say, Hartsy is not moving his feet, what do you think are some of the reasons that lead to it?
Well, I think it's just being on all the time. Just some players have that where they just coast at times, and where he has a tendency to do it is in his own end. And what's tough about that is that Hartman has the ability. He's so smart, and he's got such an incredible stick. Just to look at how many plays defensively he breaks up with just having a great stick. Or knocking plays down in the neutral zone. He could be an elite player and show you the reasons why he was a first-round pick all the time. The problem is in his own end, sometimes he does get a little bit, I don't want to say lazy, but, when you're not moving the feet, you look that way. And there's no other great example of that, and people can find it online, is that December 31st game last year, coincidentally, the game that he cross-checked Cole Perfetti in the teeth. The third period, that Vinny did not, I think it was the Donato goal, Toninato, whatever the guy's name is for Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Just look at that entire shift. That is all Hartman. And he flies out of the zone, gets up slow. That's his guy. And that was the final straw with John, where he really started to give Ryan a lot of tough love. This year he's been anything but. Obviously, he missed a bunch of games with the broken thumb. But he's playing through a lot of it right now. And he's just playing a really quality brand of hockey. And when he is hard-nosed, he just creates so much. And that winning goal the other night, he doesn't get a point on it, but he makes the entire play with his wall play and allows Johansson to come out with the puck, and set it up for Spurgeon, who swings it over to Brodin. So Hartman's been really good, and they need it. We've talked a lot about it. The Wild right now are dead last in the league in expected goals for, which is amazing for a team that's lost 3 times in regulation this year. And so they're loading up this top line with Eriksson, Boldy, and Kaprizov with Zuccarello hurt, and so they need a second line. They need a third and fourth line also to contribute offensively, and they're getting none of that this year. But so far, so good. They go to St. Louis the other night. They have this new look Johansson, Hartman, and Rossi line, and they were excellent the entire game, save for the one shift that the St. Louis scored its first goal on. So, and that was a play, by the way, where Ryan admitted he didn't back check hard enough. So, he's just got to be consistent with it.
The team, the Wild, sharper and better on the road compared to at home?
Yeah, I think, in my eyes, and I know they're 4-2-1 at home, But in my eyes, they have not been very impressive on home ice. Where on the road, they score the first goal almost every game. And then once they score the first goal, it's like the old school Jacques way, where they just defend so impeccably well and make it so difficult on the opponent. And the other night was a game where they actually got the game tied there in the second period by giving up the power play goal to Jake Neighbors on a horrific call, by the way, on Matt Boldy. It was not a good penalty call by the referee. But they wound up figuring out a way against a team that has been awful in the third period this year to wind up getting that big, obviously go ahead goal that won them the game. But they're just so consistent. They give up very few chances on the road. Even though they're not scoring a ton on the road, they just find ways to play in the offensive zone. I don't know why it's been a little shaky at home. The good news is that they've gotten points of 5 of 7 games at home, but I look at all 7 of their games at home, and I don't think of one game where they really controlled play for the majority. So, they start to have a bunch of home games coming up here after this road trip, and hopefully they can, figure out a way. But on the road, they've just been, the best in the league right now.
Is Edmonton every bit as good as that Cup qualifying team last year?
No, they're way off of that. They have Draisaitl and they have McDavid and they have nothing else offensively. Like, you look at their numbers and their wingers have been terrible. They're getting a ton of goals from their blue line, but they're just getting, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins only 2 goals this year, playing the majority of the year with McDavid. Zach Hyman only 3 goals. Jeff Skinner's been very mediocre. Arvidsson only has a couple goals. They're gonna need to get a second pair of defensemen at some point. They look slower after getting rid of Broberg and Dylan Holloway. So right now it's been a tough start to their season. They're starting to play better now that McDavid's back in the lineup. McDavid and Draisaitl, obviously, as we all know, could kill you at any points, and so that's going to be a tough game anytime you play them. But you look other than I think it's Vegas, and the Wild have given up the fewest points per game in the league in Connor McDavid's existence. So they usually play him really well. When they usually play him really well, it's because he's getting a heavy dose of Jonas Brodin. Obviously John won't control the matchups tonight, but that Spurgeon and Brodin, who have been unbelievable shutdown defensemen so far this season, their analytics are as good as anybody in the league. They will be out there a lot of times tonight. But the good news is that Jake Middleton has played so good this year, and Faber's been great, that, if you don't get that matchup, it doesn't matter really if Middleton and Faber are out there against McDavid or Draisaitl. The big thing that John's going to have to try to figure out tonight is get those guys away from the third pair, because that's the matchup that Chris Knobloch's going to want to get.
And lastly, why can't the Wild get over the hump against the Stars?
I don't know. I mean, it's been that way for as long as I've covered this team. It's, they're a little better at home against the Stars, but even back in the days of when I started covering in 2005, the Wild have been just brutal in Dallas. And, it just feels like since the 2018 playoff where John Torchetti was the coach, ever since Dallas won that series, it's just been all Dallas. And they're a deep team. They've got, their top 3 lines are absolutely as good as there gets. I mean, Jake Ottinger's been tremendous, especially in St. Paul, and their blue line's excellent. So, they're just a really well-built team, and for some reason the Wild just don't match up against them. I know there's no Wild fan wants to hear about moral victories, especially when the Wild have been as bad against Winnipeg, Colorado, and Dallas as they've been in the last couple of years. But the only good thing about that game at home the other night is that playing without Zuccarello and Eriksson Ek and Brodin, to not get in a run and gun shootout with them, where the Wild usually get their doors taken off by the Dallas Stars, and to only lose 2-1 in a game where really in the last 5 minutes, the Wild had a ton of chances to tie the game up or even take the lead. I think that's a good sign for the rest of the year. So with one win, just as we know, if the Wild play Dallas in the playoffs, one win or one loss isn't going to make or break anything. It doesn't matter in the regular season. But for them to give themselves the confidence that they could at least play with that team right now, going into the rest of the meetings this season, I think it's a good thing.
You are the very best. Thank you very much for the conversation. Enjoy the game this evening.
Sorry about the gremlins here.
Nah, we're okay. Enjoy the weather and enjoy the game, okay?
Yep. See you.
See you, brother. Russo
Radio.
He's Michael Russo, and we thank him very much for his contribution. Wild and Edmonton on KFAN this evening. Nacho Lieber, Ben Lieber, sideline analyst for the vast and ever-expanding KFAN Minnesota Vikings Radio Network. You'll hear him next, and then this Sunday from Soldier Field at noon. Let's mix it up with Ben Lieber chatting some Vikings football after.
If you put aside 25 cents every week for a year, what could you get at the end? A few cups of coffee maybe? A candle? Or you could get a year of the best reporting from all over the world. Go to WashingtonPost.com/BF24 right now. You'll get a Washington Post subscription for 25 cents a week for your first year. This is a Black Friday sale, so it won't last long. WashingtonPost.com/BF24.
It's beginning to sound a lot like the holidays. The Roku channel, your home for free and premium TV, is giving you access to holiday music and genre-based stations from iHeart, all for free. Find the soundtrack of the season with channels like iHeart Christmas and North Pole Radio. The Roku channel is available on all Roku devices, web, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Samsung TVs, and the Roku mobile app on iOS and Android devices. So stream what you love and turn up the cheer with iHeartRadio on the Roku channel. Happy streaming!